your piece of paper, you may want to tell them, in fact, enough you raise your piece of paper, why don't you turn somebody today and just tell them I took one step forward today. Can you tell them I took one step? I took one step forward. Have a seat. We're going to give you some instructions. Praise the Lord. I'm going to ask the hosts that are going to be at the hosting tables. You can go ahead at this point.
Just a minute. If we can keep everybody here. We have kept this under wraps. If you're a guest, we want to encourage you to stay seated. Can you believe we actually did it? 3 months ago, our pastor and his devoted wife were on a cruise. We made an announcement in their absence that we were going to honor them, and we chose this date, and our pastor and his wife do not have a clue what we're about to do. And if you're really hungry, we are going to eat in a few moments. But we're going to honor him for 20 years of faithful service. Give us... We're going to take about 3 minutes to set this up. So please stay. We want to honor him for a few more minutes, and we're going to be dismissing you. He's going to do that at the end, because he knows what's going to happen. I have no clue. But we would like to invite the choir and the orchestra, if you can. We need the space. If you can, just go find a seat. We're going to bring our kids back in. And give us 2 or 3 minutes. Just be patient with us. We're going to honor Bert and Don today.
Right. Has everybody got a yellow ribbon, or everybody pretty close? All right. All right. If we could bring some of the house lights down, that would be great. Well, Mr. Warren Chom and a few of the guys put a little video together for Bert and Don, and it's to a song that you'll know, a tune that you'll know. The lyrics have been rearranged a little bit, and there'll be a time at the end of our video for you to wave your yellow ribbons, all right, as you're getting one. Let's take a look at the video. Let's watch it, and we're going to have a short program right afterwards for Pastor Bert and Don.
We're coming home, we've done our time. Now I've got to know what is if you receive my email telling you that I should be free, then you know just what to do. If you still want me, yeah, if you still want me. Oh, time together and found the old tree. It's been 20 long years. Do you still 'cause I couldn't bear to see what I see. I'm ready to steal their master, but we can't hold the key. Just let go, what I really need to see. I wrote and told them please. Get the ribbon round the old tree. It's been 20 long years, so long see a ribbon round the old road. We'll stay on the bus, forget about us, put the blame on me. We'll see a yellow ribbon round the old tree. Now the whole congregation is cheering. I can't believe we see 100 years round the old tree.
Are we good? Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, live from the television studios of RWC in the beautiful outskirts of Roblin, California, welcome to the afternoon versions of The Tonight Show, starring Timmy Letterson. And now, here's Timmy!
Dusty Doc Severinson. I'm supposed to be Dusty Doc Schaefer. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tonight Show. Now, was there some applause?
Tim, that is one beautiful time.
One beautiful time?
One beautiful time. Where do you get such a wonderful time?
Wonderful time?
Wonderful time.
Thank you. You want to know where it's made?
Absolutely.
Taiwan. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now, normally at this point, there's a monologue, as you know, because some of you are regulars. I recognize some of you from having seen you before. But we're going to move right now to the top 10 list, because time is short. This is the top 10 ways you know that Pastor Bert McCutcheon is your pastor. I do not believe they are showing up on the screen. You're just going to have to listen intently, with apologies to those who are visual learners. Number 1, as Yogi Berra once said, the sermon's not over until it's over. Not when he has you stand up. Number 2, your pastor has a unique blend of humility and an ability to blow his own horn. Your pastor is the one laughing the hardest at himself and his own jokes. When he and his wife, Dawn, refused to sing "Give Me Oil in My Lamp," It's because they've had it up to here with oil. If you're visiting, you won't get that one. You know Pastor Bert McCutcheon is your pastor when the pastoral staff is made up of everybody and his brother-in-law. You know Pastor Bert McCutcheon is the pastor when he's so nice and caring that he checks on everybody's welfare several times during a hard-hitting sermon by saying, "Everybody okay?" You know Pastor Bert's the pastor when you realize he had plans to remain single, but then it finally dawned on him. Thank you. Number 8. Nobody's been counting, have you? Number? Thank you. Oh, I see there's 11 here. The preacher, the choir director, and the orchestra conductor all share one salary. That's good for us. Number 9. It takes less than 2 seconds for the other members of the pastoral staff to figure out who hid their shoes. Number 10, the pastor's name is in the Guinness Book of Records for the most items transported in a Toyota van. And number 11, just for good measure, just like down at Len's, you sometimes get 13 donuts for the price of 12. That was a paid commercial announcement, by the way. The pastor and his wife agree to meet you for marriage counseling, providing it can be in aisle 3 of Value Village. Will that take you right out? Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have some guests on this momentous occasion, and I want you to give a big round of applause, a good Robin welcome to Mr. none other than Ralph Armstrong. Unscripted, but perfect. Do we have a mic for Ralph there? We may both need one. Now I'm going to ask Ralph. Now Ralph apparently has known Bert McCutcheon for some time, and so I'm going to ask Ralph a few questions, and Ralph's going to answer them, right?
You think it was planned?
Now a question out of the blue. How long have you known Pastor Bert, Ralph?
I have struggled calling pastor because I grew up with Bert and I knew him long before he became so successful and famous. I can't remember for sure how he behaved, but I put that christening. We went to youth together, seen each other at church, and our parents visited back and forth. And I seen him in high school, off and on, the whole 2 years I was there.
Thank you very much, sir, Dustin Schaefer. So, should we be addressing him just as Bert for this interview, you think? Or?
Yes, if you don't mind. I'd feel more comfortable. I have often thought that Bert was given that name for a purpose. You know, Paul in the Bible was given a thorn in the flesh to keep him humble. Well, I believe that when God blessed Bert with all his many talents and gifts, he was afraid he might become proud, so God named him after a Muppet.
Well, you mentioned Bert has many gifts and talents. Could you name some of them for us?
Sure.
I'm surprised you're so prepared for this. Some people get up on stage and they just freeze, Ralph.
Well, it's a spotlight that's thrown me. Bert is a gifted preacher, a great pastor, extraordinary singer, talented song leader, plays piano, trumpet, guitar, drums. He also is good looking. Sorry, you'll have to excuse me here. I'm having trouble with Don's handwriting. Oh yes, and lately, by the lengths of his sermons, he has developed the lungs of a Kenyan marathon.
That is talent. Yeah. Well, I mean, generally speaking, how do you feel Bert is doing as far as leading Robin Weston?
Well, when you consider the two jokers he has to work with every day. Wait, no, I read that wrong. I meant to say, Bert, Paul, and Dusty make a great team. And if you ever go to our local church conference, you'll see we lead in most areas of ministry in our Central Canada division. I was once told by a DS that Bert was the most sought-after pastor in the Wesleyan Church. If he'd had a name like Leonardo or Sir William or something, I'm sure he would have been long gone from our little redneck town.
I just learned something when you said sought after. I didn't think sought was a good word. I thought, like drunken sot. I get it. And the last question, Ralph, because we do have other guests, and I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you would have been having your afternoon nap about now. You talked about Bert's successes. What are some things you attribute them to?
Well, you know the old saying, behind every successful man is a good woman. And Dawn, coming from that famous Horner family, is a pretty good woman. Even though personally I like Nancy better. No, wait, I read that wrong. I meant to say she is much better than her sister Nancy. Bert's main successes come because he is a man after God's own heart. God knew when he gave Bert these many talents that he was going to use them for God's glory, and that many lives would be changed because he did. Every gift Bert and Don has is used for the spreading of the gospel. I believe our church is where it is today primarily because Bert has been faithful to his call, and I'm a better person for knowing the both of them. And I'm proud to call Bert my friend and my pastor.
Now our next guest is, we've gone a little different in the age. You might notice actually by the end of this we've selected 3 ages that are slightly different from each other. And our next guest, please welcome her, Bree Donovan. Ralph, stand up. Nice to see you, Bree. Yes. Well, I understand that you also have known Bert, maybe not quite as long as Ralph. But
Oh, my whole life.
your whole life.
Not quite
As long as Ralph. So how long have you, how long have you known Pastor Bert?
Yeah, like I said, my whole life. I think he was there when I was born. We have a picture of a small child wrapped in a pink blanket, but that could have been Jake. And Bert, that's my brother. And Bert was there, and Don was there, and he had a few more hairs here, and a few more hairs here. And I had a few less, so just to be fair. Yeah, he was there. there, David?
So you remember that from when
I
you were
do,
born?
vividly.
Yeah, good memory. And has he been involved in any significant events in your life?
Yeah, I was told to say he baptized me, but I remember Dusty did. But he did dedicate me, along with my sister, and probably, I remember birthday parties, potlucks at the house. One day, hopefully he'll marry me.
He's married.
No, like,
Yeah,
I'm single. Enjoy long walks on the beach. Recently graduated. You're all laughing.
student loans not yet paid off. Careful, guys. All right, thank you. Oh, you've already answered that. I was going to say, do you see him as continuing to be actively involved in your life? But you didn't mention the marriage. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I went to school. I'm going to be graduating in about 2 days as a teacher, and so it's been a 5-year trek, and I've gone here and there. And I never told him this, but when I was in Alberta, I was planning my wedding. I actually booked the church a couple years ago, that never came through. But anyway, and I was thinking I had documents on my computer of songs that I would like to play at my wedding. And for those of you who don't know me, I really like Kelly Clarkson, and a lot of her songs are more, maybe it would fit better at a funeral, I was thinking. And so, like, Since You've Been Gone, and My Life Would Suck Without You. There's a document on my computer, you all should know this, and it says, for my funeral. And so it has a list of songs I'd like played. And in addition, I wrote a little blurb, and I thought Pastor Bert would be the person to read it, because I want to say something at my funeral, especially if it's an untimely death. I want to be present. And so I figured I'd have Bert read something. This is a true story, by the way.
Yes, this is true.
And so I was doing a group project while I was in Alberta with some people I had just met. They don't know me, and I was sharing this with them for whatever reason, that I had this note that I would like my pastor to read one day at my funeral. And anyways, it was a Friday afternoon, and I told them this, and we giggled. But when I left, I went on with my weekend, and they thought that was like my last call of help, that I had written a suicide note, and that I was not going to be at school the next week. So they frantically, went to my professor and tried to get my contact information, and apparently the whole weekend they were worried that they were never going to see me again. And so Monday morning, of course, I'm late, and I showed up late on Monday morning, as I often did, but 10 minutes go by, 15 minutes go by, and they were sure I was a goner. They came up to me, and they were, you told them about that letter with your pastor, and they were kind of like, what? And anyways, they were like, they thought.
That's what happens when you plan ahead. People don't get it. They didn't get it. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much, Bree. Let's hear it for the band. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have 3 guests. There's one more coming, but we did have a 4th one that we really wanted to get, and he was too tied up. So anyway, let me just put it this way. There is a little message from him. So our next guest is a virtuosic trumpeter, singer, composer, producer. He performs in widely varying music genres and styles, which include rock and roll, rhythm and blues, and patriotic music. I think that's the U.S. But is best known for his work in Christian music and his longtime Christian ministry. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to our screen, in photo form, Grammy Award winner and multi-time nominee Phil Driscoll. This really is a message from Phil there, Bert. Hi, Bert. Your friend Dustin Crozier contacted me back in December about the amazing work you do at Roblin Wesleyan Church, and I want to personally reach out to you and thank you for all that you have done as senior pastor. He mentioned how you are an incredible trumpet player, and I would love to play with you in the future. Next time I am in Ontario, I will stop by Roblin Wesleyan Church and sit in during your service so I can witness the magic of Christ radiate through you as you teach others about the Word of God. Nothing makes me happier than knowing pastors who help people use their musical gifts. Congratulations on being Roblin Wesleyan's senior pastor for 20 years, and I hope today is filled with joy and praise. God bless, Phil D.
Wow.
So I believe that's very true, that he will come here sometime, and I don't know, Dusty can probably be in contact later. Maybe you yourself, who knows how that works out. But that was not our gig, that was him. Okay? All right, my last guest, ladies and gentlemen, known him for longer than both these two, probably known him as long as these two put together. He doesn't look that old, though. Garfield Yeomans. Welcome, Garfield. Nice to see you, Garfield. I've been asking everybody else same question. How long have you known Bert? So why don't we start there?
I met Bert for the first time when he was 5 months old. I don't know if he remembers. I can't tell you much about him because I didn't pay too much attention to him. I didn't realize he was going to be our pastor. But there was one thing about him that impressed me. It was this 18-year-old aunt. She was gorgeous.
And what was her name? Just in case I don't know.
Still is. That's Frida.
Yeah. His wife. And your aunt.
He calls her aunt, but he wasn't calling her aunt at that time.
No.
He didn't talk for a while.
Right.
Didn't start preaching for a while.
Aunt.
Yeah.
Aunt for anybody else who's here. Oh, you want another question? Sorry.
That was over.
So here's a question, and I'll ask two questions in one. Has he changed in that time, since you knew? And did he ever get in any kind of trouble when he was younger? Because you know how we put pastors on a pedestal and think they're perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. No, he actually, you can say Bert never grew up.
Never grew up?
Never grew up. He's the same person he was when he was small.
I only know one other person who was the same yesterday, today, and forever.
Frida's commented on this many times. Bert was always happy, caring, hardly ever got in trouble, didn't do anything wrong. He was a perfect kid. I suppose the others are all jealous of him. But he's always been the same. And I'm not saying he's immature or anything, but he's always been on that level keel. Sometimes I think I'd like to be there once in a while myself.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, this is Ed McMartin at the back here. And have you been chiming in? Because, you know, you usually do.
Yeah, but they've just been through that. There's nothing I can add to this.
Well, how about your hearty laugh? Thank you. If you're too young, you won't know who we're talking about. Anyway, all right, next question is, when did he start looking like pastor material?
I don't remember him being there when he did it, but I remember his mother talking years, when he was just young, about him standing at the picnic table, out in the yard with the Bible, preaching. And he was young. And of course, he was in Sunday school all his life. He was in church every Sunday, except maybe if they were gone, it was his other grandparents that ran through. But he always, I think he was called at a very young age, really. He seemed to be on that journey right from the time he was young.
Are you saying the Lord prepares us even before we know He's preparing us?
Yeah, I think he does.
Yeah, very good. If I put any words in your mouth that you don't want there, let me know.
After we're finished.
Was there any hesitancy on the church board's part about hiring a local boy?
No, I don't. Well, I wasn't on the board at the time. I had been on the board before and after, but I don't think there was. The only person that I know of that was kind of hesitant about Bert coming here as pastor was the last person you'd expect, and that was his mother. She had been sick for a while, and when Bert came, I remember she was a little concerned. Apparently, I guess there's some truth to this, that churches sometimes turn on their own. And I think she thought we were bringing him here because of her sickness. And she was afraid that might happen, down the road. Well, little did she know, here he is. 21 years later, and he's still here. So, but I remember she was a little concerned about it.
Well, that's very good. Now, I understand there's going to be a presentation, but just before we do that, I want to thank my friend, Callum DiStefano, the applause guy here. Stand up, Callum. Now, Callum, I don't know if this is your full-time job or not, but I can tell you right now, if the Star, I know what I get paid for this job right here. And if it's anything like what I get, stay in school, okay? All right. Well, I want to thank each and every one of our guests. And my understanding is, are you part of this presentation that's coming up? I believe you might be backing the boys up or something. Dusty's coming along. Let's hear it for Dusty Schaefer, ladies and gentlemen.
Pastor Paul, come up and assist me here. And Pastor Bert Dunn, would you come on up on stage? And we want to just publicly recognize you as we close our time together. If you can find a way through there. We have kind of a funny little just story as we close here. We were planning as a board and staff to try to send them on a cruise. And yeah, exactly. I had the information in my hand the day I walked into the kitchen of the church, and Pastor Bert said, and this is a usual thing for him, he said, "You wouldn't believe the deal I got today." We just paid for this cruise, and it was very typical, the next part of it. We don't know where we're going. We don't know where we're going. It was the greatest deal, but we're going. And it was pretty hard to top the experience that you guys had in where you were. And we just wanted to do a couple things. Dan, bring those over here. Do a couple things just to recognize you today. And get some flowers for Dawn. And the church has put together a little scrapbook of just memories and thank yous. And by the way, church, as you leave today, the Welcome Center, there's if you haven't had a chance to write in their scrapbook, we're going to add pages to it today, all right? If you take a chance to thank them and appreciate them. And also, I know your cruise, it was a long ways away, and it was quite a deal. We're sending you to probably the most peaceful place on the earth. It's Amish country in Pennsylvania for an all-expense-paid trip to see the Sight and Sound Theater perform Moses this September, and we wanted to give you that and thank you. And give them a break. And church, can we stand together? Thank you, Bert and Don, for all of your service to us. We love you.
Not one single inkling. I want to say, really, thank you. I don't, how many services will there be like this one? Listen, I want to know, I want you to know, I'm glad I didn't know about this so that when the DS calls, they can take the rap. Anyway, I just want to say a huge thank you to that. And it has been sort of a quick 20 years. Those of you who are older understand that, don't you? Time has a way. And I can't believe that years ago at April Fool's Day, when I was in Toronto, I pretended I was on the phone, And I had no thought of this. I was just doing something foolish, and I was on the phone, and Dawn came in. She goes, "Well, who's that?" I said, "You won't believe it. Roblin, my home church wants me to come and be Pastor Dawn." Goes, "We would never do that." True story. True story. It was just... Anyway. She didn't know how wonderful you were at that time, but that was true. So I do want to say a huge thank you. It is really, really humbling and very funny.